Today we're going to be doing compound resistance band exercises for the upper body. Now what that means is we're going to be doing exercises that work a lot of muscles all at once. Now if that sounds good to you, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, it helps support the channel, so thank you. And it also lets me know that you want more of this type of content. So what we're going to be doing is starting out using a tube resistance band. So I'm using a tube resistance band, and later on we're going to be using more of a power band style where it's one big loop band. So the first exercise we're going to do is a chest press. Now this is a great replacement for a bench press. All you need is a band and something sturdy to anchor it to. So we're going to start out with a warm-up set. So what I would do is go one band lighter than what you would usually use, or if you don't know quite what to pick, go take your best guess at what band you can use and go one lighter than that. So this is going to be a warm-up set. It's getting blood flow into the muscle. We're going to be doing a chest press. This is working the chest muscle, the tricep, a little bit of the front of the shoulder, a lot of the upper body muscles in that pushing movement. So for this, you're going to anchor the band right at about chest height. So right chest height, flat. Making sure I'm not getting the band all twisted. So from here, you're going to bring your hands out to elbow width. So don't have your hands tucked in close. Nice wide grip with this one. And what that's going to do is really emphasize the chest muscles. So from here, you're going to step forward till you feel that tension pulling you back to where your hands are in line with your chest. Now I'm trying to not bend forward. I'm trying to keep my back straight. You can even arch your back a little bit. That's totally fine. So this is our starting position. So we have that high tension in the chest. From here, you're gonna push straight out to the front. Now I'm not trying to bring my hands together. I'm keeping them wide at shoulder width or a little wider. So pushing out towards the front and then all the way back. And now you want to come all the way back to really work that full range of motion. Now, how far back that is you want your thumbs to be in line with your chest. So if I'm here, my thumbs should be able to sort of tap the inside of my chest. So we're doing 10 reps, getting blood flow into the muscle. We never want to work out a muscle heavy or do heavy weights or resistance cold. So we're going to ease into this exercise. So doing 10 reps. And that's our chest movement for our first exercise. Now we're going to do these in pairs. That's what's called a superset, where we do one exercise that's one direction and then another exercise that's the opposite direction. So while one is tired, the other one's working, and vice versa. So we're going to do a row exercise. Now for a row, we're working the lats and the traps and the muscles between the shoulder blade, as well as some of the bicep muscles as well. So we're working on the pulling muscles of the upper body. So for this, you're going to step back, still with the band anchored right at chest height. I want my thumbs pointed up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to let the band pull my arms forward. So it's pulling my shoulder blades apart. This is our starting position. From here, I'm pulling back into the rib cage, really trying to bend my elbows, driving those elbows back. So like you're trying to elbow something behind you. Going all the way back forward and then back. So the important part is to come all the way back forward. Don't sort of come halfway and then do it again. Go all the way back forward and then pull. That's gonna get you that shoulder blade movement as well. See how my shoulders sort of pull forward, flattens out my shoulder blades. And we really want to hit those muscles between the shoulder blade by going all the way back forward. Again, doing about 10 reps of these. Now, the exact number of reps doesn't matter actually. You don't have to do exactly 10, but we want to get warmed up with this first exercise. So you should start to feel the muscle feel a little looser, a little bit more ready to go for the next exercise. I like to shoot for about 10 reps for each exercise. As long as it's not so heavy that you're doing under 5 reps or so light that you're doing over 30 reps, but anywhere between that 5 to 30 range is actually okay. Whatever feels most beneficial to you. So for some people, aiming for more like 15 to 20 reps is easier on their joints. If your joints hurt, try dropping the weight a little bit. Try to drop to a lower resistance band and then add some reps where maybe it doesn't feel hard on your joints then, but you can still feel a great workout in your muscles. I had a client who I was working with who was suffering from arthritis. So we couldn't go really high weight, but we could do high reps, and that was a great option for them to still make progress. So if that's something that you might try going higher reps, and that's totally fine. The science says they're equally effective. Currently, the studies are all saying we have not found a difference between going high reps and low reps. So we did our warm-up set. Now what I'm gonna do is add a heavier band to the next exercise. So I'm actually adding 2 bands to this because I found for me, I need more than just 1 band, but for this particular set. And that's the great thing about bands is you can always add an additional one. Now, the goal with any exercise on this is to feel tired by the end of the exercise. So you want to go heavy enough that by around 10 reps or about 10 reps, you start to feel tired or you're feeling tired. I like to shoot for 10 reps, but like I said, if you do have some joint pain, you can always aim for higher reps. Just know that if, let's say you're doing 20 reps instead of 10, because you really want to go for high reps, by about 18, 19, you should feel tired. So that's the goal with any of these exercises, is to feel tired by the end, because that's what's going to actually grow muscle and get you stronger. So we want to build that muscle, build your body's ability. So to do that, we need to challenge the body. So we're gonna do a chest press. You can step forward till you feel that tension pulling you back. Hands straight in front of your elbows, really opening up that chest and then pushing out towards the front and then all the way back. So this is going to be a working set, which means we're doing this at the full weight. So I'm pinching my shoulder blades together, try and keep my back straight. And aiming for about 10, I might go a little bit more, trying to tire out that muscle. And relax. And now go in the opposite direction, going into a row. So I like to start out with a warm-up set, doing a lighter band. then go into a heavier set using more bands till I feel that fatigue building in the muscle. So we're going into a row, pulling back. I like this variation because it doesn't put extra strain on your low back like a bent over row does. So if you have any discomfort in your low back, this is a great rowing variation to do using resistance bands where you can still get a great shoulder workout. So we're working that shoulder and upper back without having to worry about the lower back. Now, that was our first set of that exercise. We're going to be trying for 3 sets of each of these exercises. So while one side was working, while I'm doing row, my chest press muscles are recovering. So I can go straight back in to a chest press. And what that's going to do is help me get through a workout faster in a compressed amount of time. So if you need to take a break between, that's totally fine. But the goal with supersets is to help you get through the workout faster. So we can do a compressed workout and get more done in the same amount of time. So I'm going for 3 sets today. So 3 times through each exercise. Keeping that chest up. And relax. Now it's important to maintain good technique all the way through. If you feel like you are not able to control that movement anymore, that means you need to stop. That's a good point to hit. You've finished that set. You know, when the muscle is fatigued, when it loses the ability to control that movement, you've built up fatigue in that muscle. And so that's what we call technical failure, which even though the word failure is in it, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you are no longer able to control the technique, which means you've gotten everything you can out of that muscle. And so there's no point in continuing with the exercise because there's nothing left in the muscle to give. So other muscles are having to take over for that movement. That's why it's shaky and moving in weird directions. I'm going until I can't pull any more or very nearly to there. So I'm trying to go to where I could only maybe do 1 or 2 more reps. And that's what's called number of reps in reserve, which is just a way to say how many reps that if you really had to, you could do maybe 1 or 2 more. I like to shoot for about 2 more possible where I still feel tired and I'm getting everything I can out of the muscle. But if I go to a couple more reps, I'm building up a ton more fatigue, but not really building that much more strength. So that's why I like to shoot for 1 to 2 reps still left in reserve. So that was set number 2. We're trying for set number 3, and then we've got a different set of exercises. And this is gonna be a pushing and pulling set. So right now we're doing pushing and pulling in the horizontal plane, but that doesn't cover everything about your upper body muscles. So I wanna throw in something new in a compound movement for hitting the muscles in a different way. So I'll show you that in just a second. So we're gonna finish up with chest press, pushing out towards the front and then back. Try and keep the wrists straight, pushing out, keeping your back straight as well. Going for about 10 reps. Try and keep my chest out so it's pulling straight back against my chest. Should feel that right across the front of your shoulders and chest. Excuse me. And now pull into the back, last set of rows. Letting the hands pull all the way to the front. See how it pulls my shoulder blades? I'm not like this, I'm letting it pull all the way to the front. So it's pulling my shoulder blades apart. I pinch the shoulder blades together as I pull back to my rib cage. So I'm engaging all those small muscles around the around the shoulder blade that pull it tight into that rib cage. These are those muscles that give you that big upper back. Really trying to pull those shoulder blades together, bend the elbows. And relax. All right, excuse me a moment. All right, so we just did pushing and pulling in the horizontal plane, but here's the thing, muscles actually work, your shoulder joint works in a lot more than just one plane. So we're going to be working these muscles in the vertical plane as well. So we're going to do a vertical press using resistance bands. Now for this, my shoulder's already pretty warmed up. So I'm going to jump right into it. But if you would like, you can always start with a lower band and then work your way up. So for this one, I would try a little bit of a lighter band. So you're gonna step right in the middle of the band with both feet and start with your hands facing palm out, right in front of your shoulders. Daniel says, hi Gregory. Hey Daniel, welcome, good to have you. Today we're working on compound movements for the upper body. So we're using a resistance band. Welcome, good to see you. So we're gonna do a vertical press. So for this, I want my elbows in straight at my sides. I'm gonna bring my chest, trying to point my chest up at the ceiling. So that keeps your back straight. We're not rounding to the front. We're keeping straight up, okay? So this is our starting position. From here, you're gonna push up towards the ceiling. Try and keep that band, the handles slightly in front of your body. So we're going, you can even do it like this with the band in front of your arms if it's uncomfortable. I personally like it a little bit better right like this. Excuse me a sec. Daniel says, I've been doing a ton of calisthenic movements for upper body specifically. This month I feel free from the crutches of the gym. Hey, that's awesome. Calisthenics, definitely a great way of doing things. I like to do a combination of bands and dumbbells in my home gym. But honestly, your body doesn't know the difference whether it's body weight or it's resistance bands or dumbbells or barbells. It's all just tension in the muscle. So if you found a way of doing that with calisthenics and that works well for you, that's awesome. Good for you, I'm proud of you. making that working out part of your day-to-day life. So I'm doing a vertical press. You could do this in calisthenics. This is very similar to a handstand press. So I'm doing that same movement of pressing into that same muscles, working that deltoid, the tricep, and some of that upper chest. I think it's so important to find a workout plan that works for you, where you're doing resistance training, keeping your muscles healthy, which actually affects other systems like your bones, your blood sugar, your other systems are affected by your muscles. That's why I think it's so important. If I ever unlock the handstand push-ups, I'll be super happy. Yeah, I hear you. I used to be able to do them back when I was training in martial arts. We would train handstand push-ups as part of our demonstration team, but I haven't done them for a long time, so I've lost the ability. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to maintain. It's so much easier to keep the muscle than it is to regain it after you lost it. For me, after I graduated college, I took a job in marketing actually for a while, and I let my habit slip of working out because I was so busy with work. And so I had to come back and rebuild some of the strength that I used to have. I'm still working on in some ways of doing that. So that's why I think it's so important to maintain that strength. That's one of the reasons I do like using the resistance bands or things like free weights, because sometimes calisthenics, you're always going against body weight. So it's hard to modify your weight sometimes without extra equipment. And not to say calisthenics are bad, they're great. They are definitely a great way of working out, but you have to know how to adjust that weight and resistance for yourself to get into various exercises. So Daniel says my routine is dips, deficit push-ups, overhead dumbbell tricep extensions on Monday. Tuesday is pull-ups, negatives, leg assisted pull-ups. That's awesome. So you're doing both the pushing and pulling. I like how you're doing dips and deficit push-ups, so you're doing chest two different ways as well. We're going to be doing something very similar to a leg assisted pull-up, but we're doing a band assisted pull-up. And that's one thing I really like about the bands, is you can use them in multiple ways. Sometimes you can use them in assistive. So I'm going to use this to take off some weight for a pull-up. So what I like to do is pull this down, put my knee in the band. So this is actually reducing my body weight by the resistance of the band. Then I'm going to grab about shoulder width and let my body full hang. So I'm going to point my chest up at the band, right, or the middle of the bar, and let my arms fully hang. From this position, I'm going to bend my elbows, bring my head up to the bar, and then all the way back down. Now the important part is to go all the way to a full hang before going back up. And because this full hang position is the highest tension point in the muscle, and that's going to be what's really going to grow that muscle. I'm going until I feel that fatigue building up in that muscle. I'm gonna try for 11. And relax. One second. For some reason, this is not showing on my main screen, so I have to look down here. So if I'm looking down here, I'm just reading chat. Rest of the week is standard arms and shoulder movements with dumbbells. Hey, that's great that you got a mix too. That's very nice. Think I should buy bands? If you want to, they're definitely a great piece of equipment. I definitely recommend them. Muscles don't know the difference between resistance. Yeah, resistance is resistance, absolutely. It's really hard for me to get chest to the bar. So I agree, going full chest to the bar, the main reason to do that is if you're trying to do a muscle up, which I can't even do here because the ceiling is in my way if I was to try. But going in a pull-up all the way to where your chest is at the bar is not strictly necessary. The most important part of the movement is not the top, it's the bottom, going to a full hang, because that's when the muscle is under the most tension, and that's where you're going to have that really hypertrophic effect, where that muscle building effect. So there's nothing wrong with getting your chest to the bar, but I would emphasize more going to that full hang is gonna be the really important part. Now, if you're a sport, or if you are trying to get what's called a muscle up, where you go, it's where you're going sort of up onto the bar in sort of to a dip, where the bar is down here. That's where you would want to practice that transition and get your chest to the bar. But for a standard pull-up, just bring it to your face and then back down is totally fine. Yeah, no, I hear you, because it's actually very fatiguing to get it to the bar, but it's not necessarily muscle building to get it to the bar to your chest. The major part of the muscle growth happens in the bottom part of that movement. Been kicking myself for a few months for being slow and getting the pull-up. Oh no, yeah, don't do that. The great thing is, the more you go into that bottom portion, the stronger that muscle is gonna be. The more you do that, the more likely it is you're going to be able to actually get the bar to your chest anyway, where eventually that you might find that that's easier even without having to train all the way up into that full contraction. Imagine it like we're giving the muscle more runway by fully lengthening out that muscle, because muscles actually are strongest when they're able to contract from length. If it's already shortened, like it is here, if I'm here, it's already shortened, it doesn't have anywhere to go. It just sort of jams up against itself. So as we lengthen it and shorten it, that's where we get that strength in that lengthened position. So scapular pull-ups are a great exercise. I don't disagree with that. So that's still though, doing scapular pull-ups is here in this lengthened position. So that's what I'm having you do, is go into that full length, which is actually a scapular pull-up. I'm just adding it into the pull-up. So if you think about it, this to this is a scapular pull-up. I'm just having you go up to here, then down into a scapular pull-up. So I'm just adding it into your standard pull-ups already. So scapular pull-ups, great exercise. They're working one part of the range of motion. We can just add that into the full range of motion though. Definitely a good exercise though, especially if you struggle to get that sensation down into the full hang. So we're gonna do 3 sets of these, and I would recommend trying to do multiple sets of each exercise to build up that muscle, because you will get more muscle growth out of more sets. There might be a maximum point to that, but I can pretty confidently say 3 sets is not gonna be that maximum for you. So we're gonna do a vertical press. So I'm gonna push my chest forward, and then from here, pushing up towards the ceiling, trying to keep the handles in front of my chest. So straight up and then straight back down. doing a vertical press. This is working the top of the shoulder, back of the arm, in the tricep, and the deltoids. So this is the reverse of those pull-up muscles. It's the press-up muscles, the vertical pressing muscles. Going for about 10 of these, but I'm going until I feel tired. Oh. Oh, yes, that makes sense. It's the next step, exactly. It's those last couple inches of stretch in that pull-up. Makes a huge difference. Like if I was doing just pull-ups without that full stretch, I could probably do an extra 3 to 4 pull-ups, but I wouldn't be benefiting in all those small muscles around my shoulder blades to really open up the shoulder into a full stretch. So the other thing is grip position. If you go narrow, it's gonna get more of your lats. I like to go about shoulder width. If I go even wider than shoulder width, I'm hitting more of these small muscles like the teres major in the back of the shoulder. But for me, I like to do shoulder width. There's a lot of varieties of these exercises to target slightly different muscles. The one I'm doing is much more of a standard grip. I like the pull-up bar though, or pull-up resistance band with this big power band, because it helps me work all through this range of motion in a full hang, all the way up, then all the way back to a full hang. I'm just trying to bring my forehead to the bar and then all the way back to a full hang. So I'm doing that scapular pull-up and then full pull-up. Relax. Now, if you ever want to as well, you could even do a partial rep, which is what your friend is suggesting, where instead of the full, you just do the scapular part of the movement. You could even do that at the end, trying to get every little bit out of that muscle. Wait, so even the hang is good for building muscle? It is. Going to a full hang, you could hang and build muscle. That will probably not build as much muscle though as doing the full movement up, and then what's called the eccentric, where you're controlling down against gravity. That's probably more muscle building from what we can tell than what's called the isometric part of the movement, which is where you're not changing length, you're just holding that position. You might build some strength from doing that, but more from doing all parts of the movement. So I like to do aiming for as many as I can before the muscle starts getting tired. Yeah, negatives. So for anyone who doesn't know what negatives are, Daniel brought up that they've been doing negatives instead of doing a full pull-up where I pull. Here, I'll see if I can do this. I'm a little bit tired still. Instead of going to a pull-up and then down, instead you sort of can step up onto something, step up, and then slowly control the movement down. So you're only doing the eccentric part of slowly controlling against gravity. That's a great way of building up strength. You're doing that eccentric movement, which is probably the most effective part of the movement, or one of the most effective parts of the movement. So that's a great way if you aren't strong enough to do a full pull-up. Either add a resistance band, that's one way, or if you don't have the resistance band, try and get that out of the way for a second. If you don't have the resistance band, step up onto something. Let's see, let me do it this way. And then you're gonna step off and then slowly control the movement down. So that's called a negative. It's another great option. I like the resistance bands personally because it lets me both work the concentric, the pulling, and the eccentric, the slowly resisting gravity part of the movement. Hey, Daniel says, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you too. You've got some great comments. I like how you're thinking. Yeah, I'm getting a good workout in doing the demonstrations, trying to do this. I really appreciate you being here and talking through what you've been doing, what you're working on, because it's just, everyone has a different thing that works a little bit better for them, or maybe it's you have a particular set of gear or setup, and it's cool to hear other people's stories and what they're doing that's going to help them stay happy, healthy. So proud of you. Just want to be a calisthenics pro by the end of the year. That is ambitious. I actually don't know what it all takes to be a calisthenics pro. I know some of those movements are pretty challenging to do, but that is a very admirable goal. What can I do next after leg raises? So, are you saying doing leg raises for abs? So, let's see if I can do these for a second. So are you saying leg raises like this, where you're doing like an ab workout down to the ground? Oh, the hanging ones. Oh, okay. So you're doing like this, where you pull the legs up. I'm not a calisthenics expert, so I'm not super good at all those. So I'll let you know that right off the bat. So hanging leg raises. Yeah, if you're doing, there's the ones where you're like knees to the chest, and then as you get better, you can do straight legged. What you could do is try and do a straight leg hold and then slowly drop that down. So instead of just going up and down, I can't do those even. So that's really impressive. So if you're really close to straight leg, what I would do is trying to do more reps of it. So say you're doing 10 reps of it up and down, I try and shoot for 11 reps to add more reps into that movement. So if you're doing it, let's see if I can do this, give me a second. Going up and down 10 times, try for 11. And then after you get down 11, try for 12. Yeah, thank you. So you could also add a hold at the top for a second and then back down slowly. Because you're fatiguing the muscle. I would say that if I was doing it, I would probably add reps. I know some people in calisthenics value that hold position, so that's why I would practice the hold. And if you're looking for a pro, that's more sport specific. I don't know if they do holds for calisthenics and that's part of their rating system. If that is, then I would practice the hold to get your muscle used to doing that. I know for martial arts, what we would do is we'd kick, hold, and then back, or kick, hold, because in forms, it would be showing the good technique for a split second hold. So we would practice holding the kick, and that is something that could be in calisthenics as well. I did mine simply use an armrest on the calisthenics tower. Oh, awesome. So you're sort of supporting like this. That makes sense. I don't have one of those here. And a backrest. I don't think I have the forearm strength for the hang ones like you did. I hear you. That will definitely work your forearms. I personally, I don't do those exercises either that much, but I do think that's going to be a lot more where you're not going to be limited by your forearms. So that's good. So you're supporting with the shoulders. I don't have any way of actually doing that here. So you're sort of supported like this on both sides. Makes total sense. All right, so I think I'm on set number 3 of vertical press. Yeah, it's definitely, I know when I started doing pull-ups, my forearms were the big limiting factor. So I just practiced that hang to really build up grip strength. Like that? All right, good deal. All right, so I'm doing one more set of vertical press. Love these questions, keep them coming. You have great questions and great points. Right now I'm focusing on primary pushing pulling movements, but eventually I really would like to get back to some of the strength I had in my hips and legs, like what you're talking about with the leg lifts. I'd love to rebuild up that leg strength in that in the hip flexors, because that is the primary part of that movement. And relax. Now for anyone who wants to build up that strength to do the leg lift, but they don't have either that, what Daniel was talking about, the calisthenics tower, a specialized piece of equipment for that, what you can do is start by just doing a leg lift with one leg. You could have your back against a post or against a wall. I'll show you just right here. So if you want to start by building up that leg strength, you can do it single leg at a time, up to your waistline and then back down. And then switch to the other side, doing about 10 each side. Now, so that will not get quite as much of the abs, but it will get you started on building up that leg strength to be able to do that double lift up eventually. What's a good hanging time? That's a good question. I actually don't have a distinct number on that. I would assume that even hanging for a full minute would be pretty high up there. What I like starting with is starting with 5 to 10 seconds, let go, then rest for 2 to 5 seconds or half the time, then hang again for 5 to 10 seconds, and then let go, rest for a minute, or rest for a couple of seconds, try again, hang, hold for 5 to 10 seconds, and then as you go, you can build up more and more time hanging. Also try the I think I should also try the hanging variation. Yeah, it's definitely, hanging is such a great stretch on your shoulder too. So there's a lot of benefits because it's actually stretching all those tissues in the shoulder a little bit, because normally gravity's going the other direction. So a lot of we don't do a whole lot of hanging for the shoulder. It can actually decompress your spine as well, because your legs are helping pull on that spine to traction it. It's a very good thing. This stream is really valuable for me. I now have a ton of new ideas to try. Hey, thank you so much. That is so encouraging. I appreciate you being here. That's the whole goal with this stream. I want to help do what I can and encourage people to be happy and healthy working out with the resistance training, whether that's calisthenics or showing people how to work out in a safe way, but also that they stay strong and healthy through their lives. Because I've had clients, I work as a personal trainer, I've had clients that are 18, I've had clients who are 80. No matter where you are in your life, all of us can benefit from resistance training and keeping your body strong and healthy. All right, so last set. If you like these streams and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you want to be here for that live, hit the subscribe button and that bell icon so you can be notified when I'm going live. Thank you. And that helps also support the channel and help it to grow. So if you want to be part of a community where we help and encourage each other and help educate on working out, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So last set of pull-ups. Now, on your last set, you might be more and more fatigued. So if you can't get quite the same number of reps, that's okay. Just do what you can. I'm going all the way down to that full hang. And 8. That's as far as I'm going today. All right. Turn the bell icon on. Hey, thank you, Daniel. Welcome to the group. And so I'm going to be signing out for today. Hope to see you guys next time. We'll be hosting these Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Thank you everyone for being here, and hope you stay happy and healthy.